decided this week that we're going to talk about media. We're going to talk about, we're going to invite some people from the media. We're going to get some people who are doing the work of trying to get the message out there. And we're going to try and figure out what we can do to get our message to the broad swath of people who aren't in this room and maybe aren't yet in the Tea Party, but really should be, because obviously all the cool kids are. Right? Yeah. So what are you laughing at? This is serious business. So, as is our tradition, if I could have Linda lead us, and if I could have everyone be upstanding for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Born and unborn.
Now, I will admit that whenever we come up with one of these ideas, we come up with an idea and then we try to flesh it out. We try to make it occur. Like, last month we talked about the Second Amendment. Before that we talked about other things. We don't really know, because we can't control everything, how it's actually going to materialize, and who's going to show up and who's not going to show up. And even when people say they're going to show up, they don't always show up. Now, you will notice here at this table representatives from the Telegram and Gazette, Herald Radio, let's see, who else?
Boston Globe's here.
Sitting right here. WNECN, and of course, WGBH, the local NPR station. So, please be advised, and please understand that we even volunteered to pay for their meal if they came. We bought them full of gumbo. Just come on down and talk to us. Give us the benefit of your insight into how you see the media affecting politics, how you see the media affecting government and issues that people are facing. Now, on one level, I would kind of hold it against these people. I would say, oh, geez, I'm not so sure I want to have a subscription to the Telegram and Gazette, or I don't want to have a subscription to Boston Magazine, or whatever. But really, that's self-defeating. What we need to do, and what we need to focus on, and what hopefully our guests will help us wrap our minds around, is that to get our message to the people beyond this room and beyond the normal stage is to do newsworthy things, to help bring our narrative to other people. So there's a man here. We're going to start with Gary, and he is doing the job. He has a show on Northbridge cable network. Come on, don't be shy.
All right. Well, I put down into words, Matt, what I wanted to talk about today, because you know and I know I can go on for quite some time about politics. So I put it down, and I'll try not to be too greedy, but I definitely we'll get the point across. Let me first thank you, Matt, the Worcester Tea Party, Chris Mader from MNP Conservative Media, for inviting me to speak here tonight. To all of you, as well as all the other speakers, the Canal Restaurant and Bar, and of course everybody that does show up here tonight. I host a program. I started a movement called the Freedom Network. Just a little background on me real quick. I've worked in radio. I've hosted political shows south of Boston for years, after high school and now through today, well west of the city. I immediately realized that the media was slanted, and it wasn't slanted in a pro-America way. It was really a sad realization, to be quite honest with you, as I was growing up. When the internet came about, I learned just how much damage had really been done. And it was very eye-opening, but it was also very scary. Over the years, I've worked on some campaigns. I've partnered with Citizens for Limited Taxation way back when they were doing the seatbelt law. I worked, I remember, on Bill Weld's campaign. I attended political gatherings like this as a reporter for radio stations, and also also was an activist myself. So some time went by, I took a step back, I focused on family, focused on work. But you know what, seeing all the bias in the media made me want to get back into it. And when you never lose that drive to want to do it. So I took to the airwaves on local access. I started a grassroots campaign to really try to take America back, or to help to take America back from those that seek to destroy it. And I'll tell you, make no mistake about it. America, our Constitution, and our culture are under attack. And the unreal thing is that, you know what, it's happening from within. And that's what's so scary. Yeah, we started a website about a year ago as a test for a future gun trade. Before, we were hacked to the point of no return. And I make no distinction about the fact of our politics and the fact that we were pretty much taken off of the internet. We amassed 125,000 people in 4 months that signed up to say enough is enough. And the site will be back up soon. We have some alternatives. Now, people have asked me why I like to be on local TV, and the answer is simple, because no one can control my content. I answer to no one politically, and the only litmus test I use is the Constitution, because that's the one we should use. We've moved to show up online, and we have viewers now as far away as Texas. Tuning in, calling in, and getting involved. The Freedom Network, we talk about tough issues. We don't hide behind political correctness that the media has decided that is how we should live. We don't bend on the fact that America needs to be free, and our Constitution is the law of the land. We should be free from a big government that runs our lives. We call it like we see it. We call it out. We don't worry about offending anyone. Do you think the media really worries about offending anyone when they do their newscasts every night? Actually, how does a person that wants to live by the Constitution offend any American? Why and how could that be? I argue with people on the left all the time. But you know what? I also argue with people on the right. Because some on the right, I don't think get it either. You know, the best example may even be embedded right in religion. You know, time and time again, it's a controversial issue. And you know, I don't shy away from controversial issues. You know, time and time again, I hear about the right wanting to put more religion in America. Now, I support fully the right of all Americans to pray or not to pray or do whatever you want to do. We have and should have religious freedoms. But as the Constitution says, the state should not endorse or be run by a specific religion. Now, I know that this hits a chord with many conservatives, and maybe even some people sitting in this room right now. And I'm okay with that, because you know what? The Tea Party movement, the grassroots movement, is all about saying what you think and thinking what you say. And I think that's really important. So our founders knew that religion, leading a nation, didn't work out too well. We can see it today almost all over the world. When religion is in charge, when religion is the supreme law of the land, people don't really fare too well in many cases. Now, the media will tell you about conservatives want Bible study in schools, and nobody's asked me that question. Nobody's called my house to call me on that. I feel that there's a book that if we follow, it will fix America. I don't think it's the Bible, but I do think it's the Constitution. Our founders took what they wanted from the Bible, but they did not take it all. But the media will have you believe that if an American is a conservative, their religion is bad. But if a liberal is religious, well, that's okay. Let's look at Tim Tebow. The left and the media killed this guy over praying, a right that he has. He has the right to pray. You don't see them having an issue when somebody on the basketball court or somebody on the football field makes a touchdown, crosses themselves, or anything like that. That's no problem. But for some reason, Tim Tebow became a big issue. And I believe it's just simply because he's a conservative, maybe a constitutionalist, maybe he believes in that kind of stuff. And it's pretty sad when you can see it that blatant in the media. They'll defend a sculpture, and pardon my expression, that is called a piss price. But they will not dare say a bad word about terrorism linked to a certain religion. It's as if the only religion that they will attack are the ones that are held by Americans. I think we can and we should have whatever religion we want. The media is an anti-religious institution only if it's mainstream America. They're certainly biased towards it. They don't cite it on constitutional grounds, though, because they don't like the Constitution. The media works against the Constitution all the time. They could cite the Federalist Papers, where it explains why the founders wanted a separation of governing and religion. It's a much better way to look at it than a separation between church and state. They didn't want no religion, but they did not want religion to take over this country. It's black and white, it's in their words, but the media can't use it, because it would mean that they would have to use it all. They can't talk about it. When was the last time you heard the Federalists ever mentioned on mainstream media?
Never.
This is, and these are the words of the people that really made this country. So they just attack religion. That's what the media does. The intent of separation was not to attack religion at all. It was to control it from just taking control of the American people. Now, I'm sorry for the religious rant, but it does prove the point that the media is biased. They can trot out the Constitution, they can stand on that ground, but they're so biased that they can't allow the Constitution to be valid on any issue.
Amen.
They just can't allow it to happen. So media bias, false narratives, they're all around us. They exist in news and also in other places. False narratives are everywhere. You know, this is the reason, that we see so much of what we might want to call brainwashing. They can't get their lies to everyone by just the news. So now we're seeing things explode into everyday television, print media, comics, and things of this nature. Once a place for entertainment, now they're a place for re-education. A place to drive home brainwashing. We see starts in Washington and it's fed to us through the news. There are many examples of this. Just look at late night television. One example. From late night talk shows to productions like Saturday Night Live and others, they push an agenda. Everyone seems to be pushing an agenda. But what is the agenda? And when you uncover what the agenda is, let me tell you, it's pretty darn scary. The networks are all biased. We can cite NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, even Fox. All the others, they push an agenda. Even Fox pushes an agenda. There is an agenda. They never make a mistake about it. Now, maybe an agenda that we agree with, but it's still an agenda nonetheless. The thing that's most troubling is that 90% of the mainstream media pushes a clear leftist agenda. There's nothing leftist about the founding of this country. In my opinion, the media should be reporting facts. It's not even close to reporting facts today. There should be no agenda in reporting except the truth. You look at the press coverage of any national race today, on local issues, on national issues, it doesn't matter. Even our local networks, in some cases, can be biased, especially depending upon where you live. But no matter who's going to run as a conservative, and the more conservative they are, the more stories you will see on every aspect of everything they say. You'll never see the same scrutiny of the left as you do the right. It's not hard to realize, but so many seem to buy into this bias. So let's look at a couple of things. In the media, it's okay for Al Gore to fly around on a jet and preach that we're polluting the world too much. But it would seem that a real media may want to do a story on his carbon footprint, on his plane trips, cars, homes, vacations, and other things that he has and enjoys. In the media, John Kerry gets a virtual pass on docking his boat in Rhode Island to save on tax dollars, while voting to increase federal taxes on citizens of this state. Would seem a real media would want to do a story on that, wouldn't it? We saw a terrible tragedy recently where a crazy person shot and killed several people in a church of all places. I mean, that's such a sad thing. The president wasted no time. Actually, I watched the speech. I think it was in under 2 minutes of his initial comments on this. He was calling for more gun control.
Right. That's the agenda.
Now think about this. Criminals don't follow the law. By definition, that's what they are. They're criminals. They're lawbreakers. They don't follow the law. The media pushed this full on as well. They ran with it as he was making his speech. They were waiting for their instructions from the leader. Yes, the leader.
Yeah.
The king.
And it's going to continue because the goal is to disarm you. Don't make any mistake about that. That is the goal, is to disarm you. So to prove that no amount of gun control can ever prevent any of this, and actually more people having guns could have prevented several deaths. I want you to digest this. The church in that area is a gun-free zone. There's no guns allowed. by law, and by the church. So all those people were defenseless from this insane moron. Now, you can see how banning guns makes people less safe. Not more safe. In gun-free zones all across America, we see law-abiding citizens getting bullied by the criminal. If we need anything, it's more people carrying guns, not less. Now wait, did he just say that? Did he just say we need more people carrying guns? Yes, he said that. Yes, he said that. As the Constitution says, and is explained in the Federalist Papers, this is exactly why Americans have the right and probably the duty to be able to defend themselves, their state, and their country as well. I beg people to read the words of the Founding Fathers on guns. It's so eye-opening. We see today that a flag has become such a controversial topic. Now, to be honest, I see this as a simple issue. If you want to fly the Confederate flag, go ahead, go for it. I personally don't like to see it on local, state, or federal property. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. As a person that believes in the Constitution, I can't support that for just a couple of reasons. First, the South wanted to leave the nation. They wanted to start a new one. Well, that's not how it works in the Constitution. In reality, the Constitution, if they wanted to follow it, they should have fought under the American flag. They should have rebelled against America at the time. There's many unconstitutional things are going on. It wasn't all about slavery. We understand that. But we did not fight that war just for slavery. I mean, there were too many things that we could even talk about here today. But there were many things that people were willing to die for and preserve. And one of them did happen to be that. I'm not afraid to stand up there and tell you that, because you know what? That's what people did at the time. If you do real research, you'll find that out. Now, is that everybody? No, that's not everybody. But you know what? It is pretty ugly. And folks, you know what? How the South went about declaring that they were no longer Americans, wanted to start a new nation. That's not in the Constitution. As a constitutionalist, how can I support that? They also passed some of the first gun control laws in the Confederacy. Not too many people know that. Not too many people know that. But they actually had a law that prohibited blacks or non-whites.
So the Democrats.
We'll get to that. That's right. I don't really see anything in the Constitution or constitutional about what the South did. Because they did it the wrong way, they fought not for America but against it. That's just not how the founders wanted it to work. It may be how people wanted it to work, but it's not how the founders envisioned it. It's just not the way they did, no matter your opinion on the issue. I don't see supporting things that go against the Constitution. So I say, take the flags down for that reason at the very least. May not be a popular opinion with the right. I get it. Trust me, I'm used to being in the unpopular opinion. But you know what? I'm not beholden to any political party, not any political group, not anything. I'm beholden to the Constitution, to the United States of America. And what they did just isn't how it's supposed to work. It's just not how it's supposed to work. In the media, we see that David Duke was just another elected official in Washington. But that same media has invented the myth that the conservatives are racist. In fact, only when Duke decided to leave the Democrat Party did the media decide to talk about his bigotry and leadership in the KKK. The only elected person in my lifetime, maybe aside from Robert Byrd, I guess, was that former bigwig in the KKK, and he gets a pass until he left the protected party of the Democrats. So does Al Sharpton get a pass? Yeah, he gets a pass. A blatant racist. Blatant racist. No one in the media talks about that. But you know what? They had a huge issue with a sign on a rock that a presidential candidate walked past at a club that he belonged to. But wait, he was a Republican. He was a conservative, so of course they would. How about Robert Byrd? How about him? We get nothing. Racism is ugly, it's wrong. We're all the same under the Constitution. So, the race bias, it's also in our schools. The conservative constitutional world is being torn apart. They're teaching our kids that what is in the Constitution is up to debate or interpretation. No, it's not. The Constitution is not up to debate. The media and the schools hide the fact that is already interpreted by those that wrote it. They hide it. We can all agree the Civil War was fought for many reasons, way too many to get in here, as I said. But you know what? White people did fight and died knowing that if they had success, slaves would be free. That's a fact, and you can't get away from it. With all the other stuff that was going on, again, it's still a fact, and they fought. So how are all white people racist, as the media would tell us? How is that possible? Many died in the name of equality. But the media won't ever say that, will they? They will never say that because it doesn't go with their agenda. Never have I seen a media outlet praise white people for ending slavery. But the fact is only white people could have ended slavery.
Right.
So why don't we see those stories? You know, actually, when you think about it, the reality is white conservatives ended slavery, and Southern liberals saw it as a states' rights issue. No state can restrict freedom, and that's the duty of all people to ensure that the states follow the Constitution. And the Constitution says that all men are created equal. So you know what? All men are created equal. So to me, Southern Democrats didn't have a states' rights issue with slavery. It's just not something that a state could do. They just couldn't own slaves. It's just not something you can do. And you know, what's interesting is it's exactly what America should stand against. Conservatives had civil rights laws well before Kennedy. But you know what? It was killed. It was rewritten. It was rebranded. And it was rebranded as Kennedy's. We all know that. But no stories are it. The media can't tell you anything about that because it doesn't fit their pattern of brainwashing. They can't tell you so many things because it would blow holes in what they have been trying to sell people for decades. Conservatives are not racist, but what they do is they take a fringe from the group that is racist, and they portray that as a majority. They do that to the Tea Party all the time. This is not true. I don't see any racists sitting here in front of me tonight. And I'm going to tell you, you don't see a racist standing up here in front of me tonight. So where are these people? They're invented by the media. Of course racists exist. They exist in every cross-section of society, right? We have white racists, black racists, Hispanic racists, Asian racists. It doesn't matter. Every cross-section of society has racists. They're everywhere. But they're not a majority of people. And no matter how much the media wants us to believe it, and they want to brainwash people, that somebody that may come to an event like this must be a racist because they're part of the Tea Party. You know what I'd say to that? If I could swear, I'd say, bull, you know what.
Well.
Thank you. Let's take a look at Al Sharpton for a minute. Just a short one. Probably the most outspoken racist in news today. But the media won't talk about that. In fact, they've made him into a leader. He's not a leader. He's a divider. But the media won't say that. So you're a racist. And when Jesse Jackson calls New York Town, that's okay. But you know what? One person says that they are with the Tea Party and that they appear racist, and the media runs with this, twists it into a story. We've all seen it to make it seem that the whole Tea Party is racist. It's not true. I know this. I hear all the time. People say that the Tea Party is a racist party. You know what? It's just simply not true, and the media has done a real job on this movement. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because it's real, and it's a threat to their and the government's power structure. The Tea Party is making a difference.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
You're right.
You may not agree with everything. That's fine, that one of your representatives makes a decision or a vote, but look at how those who vote in Washington have voted. In the past many years, the Tea Party reps are the only ones that are voting for those that elected them. They're the only ones.
Yeah.
They're the only people today that are doing the people's work that they represent. Sadly, so uncommon in Washington today. The media is clinging to a two-party system because they control the two-party system. That's why they don't ever want a third party. You know, imagine we live in a country where a self-described socialist is going to be a contender for the presidency. How can the media not have a story about his anti-American and anti-constitutional ideals? It doesn't matter left or right, it's about control. Don't make that mistake. It's what the media seeks, it's control. Brainwashing and more control. They do it on behalf of the government. It's not about information, it's about control of information. What is most awful is that the media has made Constitution are extreme. How did that happen in a country that was founded on the Constitution? In a country that should be governed by the Constitution, you're now extreme if you think America should get back to what it was intended to be. What is extreme is the media and the government wanting to not follow the Constitution. That, my friends, is what's extreme. We have it all backwards. That may be the most disgusting thing about the media. They're playing a key role in curbing our rights, and doing so by making the Constitution seem wrong or racist. You know what? The Constitution's not wrong, and it's not racist.
Right.
They did this by simply repeating lies over and over. We all know somebody in some of our lifetime that just kept repeating lies over and over. What did he do? I mean, how no one wants to be labeled a racist, right? That's how sad it is. People actually back away from a Tea Party event because they may not want to be seen because of the brainwashing of the media. In every nation that has gone to the state of total government control, it starts with the media brainwashing people, and then they take the guns away. Now, I'm not a fan of the logic that a few people run the world. In reality, there are many egos in place, and to be honest with you, the conspiracy would be so big that someone may or should have broken their silence by now. But I don't consider, and I will put, quote, conspiracy theories to be false. As a matter of fact, they're not at all. In fact, I call them alternative theories. I don't want to use the word conspiracy theories because it brings a negative connotation to their ideas. And you know what? Many of them are true. The government falsehoods and the media falsehoods usually line up, but they don't in all cases. What always lines up in the media is that the conservatives or the constitutionalists are always the nut. When I talk to people about the Constitution, I've been told, oh, you're one of those people.
Amen.
Well, the media has succeeded in making someone like me extreme. Do I seem extreme to you? Maybe we don't agree on every issue, but I'm far from extreme. The media seems extreme to me, and I'm sure it does to you as well. The media has decided that they will push the fact that we must understand everyone except ourselves. Yes, we have to bend to everyone, but they don't ask the same of others, do they? No, because that's part of the brainwashing. They ask for the world to understand, right? That's what they want. They don't want the world to understand America. They want America to understand the world. They support and assist in getting restaurants to stop serving bacon in areas where there are a lot of Muslims. Now look, let me break something to you. Most mainstream Muslims, I'm sorry, don't care what you eat. They don't. But the media will portray it in some way that they will latch onto this and try to make it so that you're going to do what they tell you to do.
Eat more bacon.
That's a hashtag now. It's funny that the media never once eradicated that restaurants should not serve meat on Fridays. I never heard that.
Interesting,
You know what? And they should not. They shouldn't push any agenda over any other in the name of diversity, especially. They should not push any agenda. The Freedom Network is a place where you can speak your mind. You can see I've done here tonight. It's a place where we don't hate. We don't want to control anyone. We don't want to push an agenda that is not in line with the Constitution. In fact, the only agenda we have is the American agenda, the freedom agenda, and we include everybody in it, just like the Tea Party does. But the media won't report that. It makes no difference if you're a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, Hindu, or any other religion. We don't care if you're an atheist. All of that is your decision, as it says in the Constitution. We don't put anyone above anyone else, but we do call it like it is, not the way the media wants it to be. So, my friends, I said we don't shy away from controversy. You probably can see that here tonight. The fact is, nothing we talk about on the show or anything that we've talked about here today should be controversial. Being an American who wants to live free from government and the media that has an agenda to curb freedom is not controversial. What is controversial, in my opinion, is the current state of the media and the current state of the federal government.
Yeah.
This is the most controversial thing that exists. The media, the government, and the fact that more Americans are not standing up to them and demanding our freedoms back. The government will always want to grow. It'll always want more power. And Now, we have a government class of people. They live by their own laws, not the ones they pass for you, not the ones they pass for me. They live by their own laws. And they become just like the very people that America was founded to get away from. The key to curbing that power is a free press. And that could make the difference, reporting on things that they did and getting the people involved to save the country. Unfortunately, the media has turned on them. And they've jumped into bed with the growing government. They no longer are the watchdogs of freedom that they should have been. They've become enablers, the puppets, and the strong arms through brainwashing you on behalf of the government. So, they work for the government, they work against freedom, and it's time that Americans start to wake up and realize this before it's too late. People say it's already too late, but you know what? I say it's not too late. I say we can rise up as a people and we can take back what's ours, and what's ours is freedom. I want to thank everybody again for having me here tonight, for allowing me to speak to you. This is the grassroots. This is what matters to freedom. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and tell the government and tell the world. This is America. We're free. We want to live by the limited laws provided in the founding documents, and by God, we demand a government and a media that works for the people, not against the people. Amen. Thank you for letting me be involved, and thank you for taking the time, for allowing me to be here tonight, and for you folks to be here tonight. Don't waver. Don't give up, no matter how bleak it may seem to be. That's what they're counting on, is for you to give up. So let's show them that we're here, that we're not going away. We're going to take America back. This once great country can be great again. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.